Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to MEC-TEC. Now, in my last video on the old cab, you would have heard me say the cab's been doing really well. I've had no problems with it, it's been doing tons of miles and everything else. Well, of course, because I said that, I've then jinxed it, haven't I? So I've got an issue now with the cab where it's leaking coolant from inside somewhere. I'm assuming it's the heater matrix. I don't know for sure yet. That is what we need to find out. I'm getting like a greasy haze around the edge of the windscreen, and my driver's footwell is soaking wet. So we need to get inside the cab, have a little look, see what's going on. And obviously, if it is a heater matrix, then it's going to be a world of pain because it's dash out job. So let's grab the camera, we'll have a look inside, see exactly what we've got going on, see if we can see where it's leaking from. I've got a pressure tester we can put on the cab, so we haven't got to run it up, and we can put it on the rad cap under the bonnet, pressurise the system, and hopefully see where the water's coming out from. If I'm really lucky, it's just a pipe. If I'm really unlucky, it's a heater matrix. So let's have a look, see what we got. Right, going inside the cab, first thing you notice is bottom of the mat is absolutely soaking wet, and I've actually got coolant on the step there as well. So that's that. Now this panel here is held in with self tappers, so I think I'm going to have to take that out next, and maybe easier to take the seat out as well, just so I've got a bit more room. This is all that you can see, the water in that absolutely soaked, so that is disgusting. And menk, so that's full of antifreeze. So that is obviously where my leak is coming from. As far as the water's concerned, it is on this side by the looks of it. So yeah, it's not looking good. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I need to take this kick trim off of here. My fingers are dripping. Get the carpet out, get that side trim off, and then we'll have a look and obviously see what we can see up the middle of there. Right, as you can see, I've got the seat out, got all the carpet out, and I think I may be actually in luck. I've just had a look here, and this pipe's loose. So I'm just praying that that is all it is. I don't know why it's loose, or whether it's just that the hose has gone hard or what, but if it's just that coolant line that needs changing or tightening up, I am going to be one very happy person, because that is absolutely mega. It saves me having to take everything else out. I can give it a good clean in here while I've got all this out as well, because it is pretty manky, as you can probably see. There's 175,000 miles worth of dirt, that's what I'm trying to say, under here. It's probably never been out, so I'm praying that's what it is. So I think probably the best thing to do is if I get the pressure tester on it, and we'll just put a little bit of pressure in the system and see where it comes out. I'm pretty sure that's going to be it, but obviously we want to make sure. So I just want to make sure there's no cracks or anything in that, because that looks like a heater valve for the rear. So yeah, I'm just praying that that's it. It does. It would appear to be that, because nothing above it is wet, and obviously it's been dripping straight down there onto the floor and then soaking that carpet. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's get the pressure tester out and we'll have a look. Right, I haven't even got the pressure tester out, and it's actually actively dripping, as you can see there. So I'm not even going to bother with the pressure tester, but I think that bit of hose is at it, because I've tried to do that clamp up, and it just leaks more when I do the clamp up. So the hose only runs from there underneath here to a join just there. So I think I'm just going to change the whole piece of hose. It's going to be a bit of a faff getting into that bit in there, which is a shame, but I think it's probably for the best, because otherwise it's just going to carry on leaking, and I obviously don't want that. So I think I'm going to have to go and get a new piece of hose. I'll come back to you when I'm back from the parts shop. Rightio, got a couple of new bits of hose there, as you can see. Went down to my local parts store. I need one, but I thought I'd get two just so I've got a spare. They were the only size they had left in stock, and they were exactly the right size, because I put a caliper on this little valve in here to measure it before I went down there to make sure I was going to get the right size. So the next thing I'm going to do, I have actually got a few more panels off the inside here now, because I was going to try and get the centre console out, but there's no need to. I managed to get that middle panel out, which just pops out on clips. Means I can give that a good old clean, and we'll be able to thread all the hoses through. So the next thing I'm going to do now is obviously try and get this undone and make a big mess, most probably. I'm hoping, praying, that it isn't the actual plastic that's cracked underneath this hose. I don't think it is, but this is going to make a mess. I think this is why I have to take this a little bit slow, try and catch as much coolant as I can without it going everywhere. Well, that wasn't as bad as I thought, actually. It's a bit of luck. I didn't know which end to do first, because obviously I've got to take the other end off as well now, but by the looks of it, that the plastic bit on there is absolutely fine. It's not very long, so it's obviously just where this hose is very, very hard, rock hard in fact. So hopefully this new stuff will do the job, and we'll be all right with any luck. So let's let this drain out for a minute. So obviously I've got a rear heater matrix in this cab as well for the back, so there's going to be water in the back of it as well, so I can drain out as much as I can before I take the back end of the hose off, and obviously that's going to be beneficial. Right, let's show you what I'm doing here. Trying not to knock the camera over. I've undone the two cable ties that hold this in, and from under here, well, I say that, maybe there's a third. I don't think there is, there's only two. Yeah, there's only two. That's all right, there we go, right. You can see where that's proper gone. Is that fact? It looks like it's a different size inside there. Why would that be? Not sure why that would be. Let's hope my new hose is alright. Pretty sure it is. So I measured this bit on the valve here. I measured that. So this is a thicker, much thicker wall, this hose, than the other one, which is good. Nice and strong, hopefully. But that might be a bit too big, actually, which is ridiculous when you consider I measured it. Maybe it'll crush down enough. I say it might be too big. It does fit over there all right. It's sort of, it's not tight, but it's not loose, if that makes sense. Don't know what to do about that. Right, it's at this point in time where I realised that this bit of video clip had totally gone with the sound, so I've had to do a voiceover for you here. First time I've done a voiceover, so bear with. Basically what I was saying there was, I don't think the pipe's the issue. I think it's the valve, which we'll come back to obviously in the video. I then changed the bulb in the gear shifter because the selector display didn't used to light up, and I've changed that. And another job, while we're waiting for the valve, which I've got to get the next day, I want to wire in the dash cam into the fuse box direct. Now this has always been plugged into the cigarette lighter, and it has had a tendency to go on and off as I'm driving along sometimes for whatever reason, whether it's getting a bad connection or whatever else with that plug. So I've gone into the fuse box and I found that there's 3 auxiliary ports actually directly in the fuse box, which are switched power on the ignition with a fuse as well, so that's really, really good. So all I've basically got to do is cut off that plug on the end of the lead, wire it directly into those 2 spade terminals on the fuse box, and it should all work absolutely marvellous. So I've got a test light here. You can see me connecting to the check strap on the car to get an earth, and I'm obviously just showing that there's no power at the moment with the ignition off. So reach over and switch the ignition on, and you'll see in a second that the light on the thing comes on. There we go. So I've got power on there, switched on the ignition, and it's got a 20 amp fuse attached through it as well. So it is all protected as such and good to go as far as wiring something straight into it. So I need to investigate, take the plug apart, find out which wire goes where. The center of the plug is the positive, the edge of the plug is the negative. Luckily enough, those both were pretty self-explanatory when I got the plug apart, and it was easy to obviously wire them straight in to the right terminals on the fuse box. So I'm going to get that done, and I think the next clip I'm back to normal sound again. Right, hopefully you can see this all right. The sun's at a bit of a funny angle where I'm parked, but you can see I've got my wire running. It runs down this pillar and then obviously comes through to the glove box, and it used to go around the dash and then into the centre console where the cigarette lighter is, but obviously we're not going to do that now. So I need to take the plug off the end of this wire so I can see which wire's which as far as positive and negative go. That's taken that little screw out of there, and then that end twists off. Got a few inline fuse in there, which is good. Obviously this connection I'm going to be putting this onto is fused as well, so that should be absolutely fine. Open that up, got a spring inside. Now you can see that's a bit, at least they've colour coded it, so they've got like an orangey red wire and a black wire, so obviously it's pretty self-explanatory which one's which. The red's positive and the black's negative. So what I'll do, I'm going to leave all that intact, and I'm going to cut the wire further back, because then I've got this plug to use if I ever need it then as well, which will be obviously handy for something at some point, no doubt. Knowing my hoarding tendencies, it will come in use in about 20 years time. Right, so let's put that back together. I'll put the screw back in a minute, and we can now cut this back here, and we know obviously what colour's what. Give it a little bit of slack just so it's got a bit extra. Right, that's that cut off of there. Get your wire strippers, got these little sideways jobbies. Like that. Split them apart. I'll go a little bit more just so they've got a little bit of, actually no, I've only got to go like that, no, that'll probably be alright. Strip those. These are very thin, these wires, I have to say. I might end up putting these crimps on and soldering them just so that they're double fixed on there, because there's not a lot of wire to crimp onto because they're only thin. Usual stuff you get with things that's not more made to a price in it, you know what I mean? Right, unfortunately I've only got 2 blue crimps at the moment because I haven't got well, I have got it, but I don't know where it is, famous last words. My box of crimps is somewhere, and I found these 2 and I thought they'll do. So I mean, we'll crimp these to start with, see what they go on like. If they go on alright and they seem pretty solid, then obviously I'll leave them. If they don't, I'll have to solder them, but well, that's pretty alright. Go with that. Right, oh, clicked it a bit too soon. Okay, now that flat one was our positive, so in fact I'm just going to double check that just because I don't want it to be wrong. I'm pretty certain it was, but my memory's not great, so let's just make sure. Right, switch that on, switch that on. Yes, the horizontal one is power. So now if I plug those in, that one on there and that one on there, just about get that to stretch because I've not taken enough off the wiring to get it round. Pull that one off slightly, get the other one started, And they should both push on together then. Not ideal, I know, but it's all I've got at the moment, so it should work. It's better than having a cigarette lighter. That's all I'm worried about. They're both insulated so they can't touch each other. Right, there we go. So now in theory, when I switch my ignition on, if you listen carefully, you should hear the camera start up. Or not. The light's on. There it goes. Took a little minute to switch on. There we go. So that's now got power. In theory, when I switch this off, it should say powering down. There we go. Superb. So that is that. I've been wanting to do that for absolutely ages. So if I know it'd been that simple, I'd have done it absolutely ages ago. So there we go. That's another nice little job ticked off the list while we're waiting for that other part to turn up. Or while we're waiting until tomorrow so I can go and get it. So that's top banana. Lovely jubbly. Rightio, I've finally got this new part. I say finally because it took me about 4.5 hours to go there and back to get it. And it was the last one that the main dealer had, and they said that now this can only be bought as part of a complete heater box, which is ridiculous, but it's because obviously the TX4 is getting a bit older now and they're obviously not making as many parts for it. So you can see the difference. I've put the pipe on this end already and I heated it up with some boiling water, sealed it back on, put the clamp on, and that is all lovely and tight and not too tight that it's going to break, hopefully. But you can see the difference in the length. If I show you those side by side, that compared to that, you can see the problem I had. I couldn't fit the pipes back on there because there was just not enough pipe left on this old one to fit it back on. So that is obviously a lot better, that one now, so hopefully that will do the job. So all I've got to do now is heat the other pipe up in the cab, slide it onto this end of it, and then we'll slide the whole thing back onto, in fact we might do this end first, thinking about it. We'll put that on the cab first, screw this to the side of the heater box, and then we'll heat up the big long pipe and then slide that on, because then that'll probably be easier because it'll be fixed then. So let's get back in the cab and see what we can do. Unfortunately, it is the next day and it's now raining, so it's going to be a bit of a pain doing it, but still, we'll shut ourselves in the cab and hopefully we'll be all right. I'll come back to you in a second. Right, you can see I've got a bowl of boiling water here, so what I'm going to do is just hold that in there for a second. It just gets the hose nice and pliable. Don't forget to put our clamp on the end of it before we start pushing it on, because obviously then you have to get it back off again to get that on there. So just wanted to get it so it's a bit more pliable and supple. This water unfortunately is not quite as hot as it was when I first brought it out, because it is pretty cold out here today, but still, we'll persevere. Might just have to leave it in there a little bit longer. It'll probably be, it's pretty flexible anyway, and I want to try and get it so that these clamps are in the same position as they was before, so that they do up obviously the same way, so that the hose hasn't got to sort of re-mould itself back to the clamp again, if that makes sense. This one looks like it was up the other way to that one for some reason. I'm sure they were both around the same way. That bit's got to go there. Yeah, that's that way, that's why. Yeah, same way, that's what I thought. So if we get that on the back of there, I've cleaned up that pipe already, so it should just slide on hopefully. Famous last words. Bit of WD-40 probably wouldn't help, wouldn't hurt either, but still. Oh, there we go, it's gone on, that's a bit of luck. Alright, so if we get that so that the holes line up. Oh, hit my head. Like that. Goes on that metal pipe a fair way, that does. Which is no bad thing, because obviously it means it's got less likely to leak. Okay, so now we've got that pushed on there. Sorry, you're not looking, are you? There you go. Pay attention, you're up here. Right. I've got to find the screws, hang on. Got two there. There's one more somewhere around here. Where's the other one gone then? Oh, just thought of saying actually. I can't get to that one with the hose on there. I ain't taking it off again now, so it's going to have 2 screws and be done with it, I think. That'll be alright. I don't want to keep taking it off because every time we do it, it'll make it weaker. Yeah, I left at 5 to 9 this morning to go and get this part, and I've just got back here, and it's, well, so I've just got back here. I got back here at 1 o'clock. So it shows you how long it took. And it was an hour to get from where I am to Hackney, and then but another hour to get from Hackney to Islington, which is ridiculous because of the stupid traffic. Right, stop moaning anyway. Okay, that should click into there, and that should click into there like that. Not very happy with the clip on that. I might change that for the other clip on the other one. So that's a bit of a you can tell these are where these are made. I don't need to say anything else apart from that. They're not great. Let me go and get the clip off the other one, and we'll swap that over. I left it in the garage. Just as I got back home, the wind started getting up. And sure as eggs is eggs, it started raining. Actually, it stops again now. That's a bit of luck. Right. Stop waffling, Mick. Just get on with it. Just popping the clip off this other arm here, just because it looks like a better quality clip. It's been on there all that time and it's been alright, so assuming I can get it back out so that it doesn't comes out of this one, goes into that one, it should be alright. This shows you what a better quality clip is this. I can't get it out. Not that they were that great in the first place, but still. Right, there we go. I wonder if that hole's bigger in that arm, which is why it's... Yeah, it is. Okay, we won't do that then, because that ain't going to work. The hole in this arm is bigger. I'll tell you what I'm going to do then. I'm going to swap the arm over. Do I want to get involved with that? No, I don't really, do I? Let's just put the clip in there that's in it. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a world of pain, and you know what's going to happen. Right, I'll go back with the clip that it came with. After all that, it shouldn't come out, hopefully. Right, let's just switch the ignition on and make sure that the motor can move that new valve all right. Yep, looks okay. It's got a little bit more resistance than the other one. I felt that when it was off the car, but that's all right. It moves, that's the main thing. That's screwed on. Right, I've got to do these clamps up. I'm going to do these very, very gingerly because I don't want to go over the top of these and break that new housing. What have I done with my ratchet? Oh dear. Come on, who's nicked my ratchet? Literally 2 seconds ago. But I'm sitting on it. No. So where's my ratchet gone then? I literally spend half my life looking for tools. I've just literally had in my hand 2 seconds ago. Is it in my pocket? It's in my pocket. Oh, idiot. Right. So I'm just going to nip these up. Well, one of them I already have nipped up. I'm just doing the other one now. Right, I don't want to go too mad with those, as I say, because... Whoop! Where'd you reckon that landed? Straight in the bowl of water. Right, they're nipped. I'm going to put this long hose in the bowl of water now. In fact, we've got to thread all that back under the centre console as well. That's a different size end on this clip for some reason. It's a 6mm rather than a 7mm. Don't know why. Right, that's got to go back under there. Got to try and thread all this back the way it was now. Come on. Makes putting in that water pointless because it's been out. Oh no, it's still pretty pliable. It's alright. It's because I had it in the boiling water yesterday as well, so it's probably helped it from yesterday too. Big tractor just went past. I don't know if you heard that or not. Probably did. Right, I think in theory, just push straight on there. Come on, be good to me. I wonder if I need to loosen that clamp a little bit. Yes, there it goes. Wonder if it's worth me getting another one of these valves if I can get one from somewhere else. The main dealer said this was their last one, they weren't getting any more in, so it's going to be aftermarket from now on. But I have seen online you can actually get an older metal version of this. I wondered if I could modify that to fit this so that it wouldn't ever have this problem again with the plastic, you know. Right, I'm going to go and fill this back up with coolant again, and then we'll start it up and see what happens. Right, we are full up with coolant. Let's go for a first start and see if it leaks. Obviously I'll have to give it a minute for it to work its way round. And what we'll do is we'll put the blower on hot as well so that it opens this valve and lets the water go through. I hope and pray that this is what it was. I'm pretty sure it is. There's no wet anywhere else up here or anything like that, so just hope that it's alright. So I'm going to let this warm up and I'll come back to you when I've got more to report. Rightio, everything is nice and warm now. I've got heat coming out the vent there and no leaks, so that is absolutely brilliant. I am well chuffed about that. Pipes all nice and warm and hot. Yep. Obviously that works, no problem at all. So that is really, really good. I've had the heater on in the back, and we've got heat in the back too, and I've got the cap back on the header tank now, so it builds a bit of pressure up, and there's still no leaks. So I think that is job done. I am very, 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 very chuffed that I haven't had to take the dash out. Let's hope it stays that way. Top banana. Right, you join me once again under the back of the cab, and this problem with the fuel tank leaking has reared its ugly head again. It's been like it for a little while, to be honest with you, and I haven't had a chance to sort it out. Every time I fill it right up, it leaks out at the top. So I can only assume that it's the same thing that happened before. If you saw my old video, we actually had this tank out before, and the collar was loose on the fuel pump and sender. So I can only assume it's that again. So I'm going to drop the tank back down. It's held in with 2 bolts either side on brackets that go into the chassis legs. I'm going to get a jack underneath it with a piece of wood to obviously support it, and we'll obviously lower it down and see what's going on. But I think I'm going to have to modify this in some way that it doesn't keep coming undone. Not 100% sure how I'm going to do that yet, but when we get it out, obviously we'll know a bit more as to what's going on. So let's see if we can get these undone with the impact gun. 15 mils these are. Nope, okay. Let's crack them with the breaker bobbing. Hopefully we'll be able to get them undone right. Might have to get an extension, but that might be alright. Cool, there we go, that's that one broke free. I'll get them all broken free, and then I'll go over them with the impact gun again after. And hopefully that should do it. It's quite embarrassing when you're at a fuel garage, especially in a cab, and you fill up, and then when you come back out, there's a big puddle underneath the back of it. It's not ideal. Right, that's those 2 loose. Go over the other side and do the other 2. See if the impact gun can do it now. Hopefully it can. It makes things a bit quicker. Cool, let's stuck that one. Got that one out. Let's go back in with this one and come back out again. Come on. Just working the rust off the bolt. There it goes. Right, that's those 2 out. Flip sides and do this side. Hopefully it doesn't come off crashing down the ground. Shouldn't do, because I've got a jack under it. There we go. Right, that's in theory now loose. If we let this jack down, it should come down with it, hopefully. To wiggle it a little bit. What's it stuck on? It's stuck on something. Probably the axle. Hoping it's not going to be something horrendous like a crack in the tank or something, because then we would be in for a world of pain. It doesn't seem to want to come down any lower than that. I don't know why. Something's holding it. I might have to go and get a torch. Look at the state of my hands up from the diesel on it. Let me go and grab a torch and I'll see what's going on. I'll come back to you. Right, it's on the exhaust on the other side, which is why it's not letting it go down anymore. So if we jiggle it to this towards the camera, in fact I'll jack it up again slightly. We'll jiggle it over a bit. Hopefully it should move over. It wants to come over a little bit. Absolutely caked in diesel, so I'm getting covered in rubbish. Lucy's just come to see what's going on.
Yeah. And also, are you going to be going in the back or the front?
Back.
Okie doke, thank you very much.
Yep.
Bye.
See you in a bit. Right, I've seen the problem already. The collar for the sender has completely come off. That is what I'm greeted with as I've lowered that down slightly. So yeah, that is not well. So we'll get this unplugged. It's got a electrical connector on there and 2 pipes. Get that unplugged, drop it down and see what we can do with it. Right, after a bit of struggling with these connectors, you've got 2 quick connects on the pump, the return and the fill. That's all you've got to take off to get the tank out. This is what we're left with. I've just given this a quick wipe to get all the bits of grit off the top of it so they don't go in the tank. But this collar, for whatever reason, just will not stay done up. So the only thing I can think of doing is drilling a little hole in the side of it and putting a small self-tapping screw so that it grips on the thread on the inside so it doesn't go all the way through. Might have to do it from this side because obviously I've got clearance here and this is in like a channel. So I may have to do it from this side, just put a small grub screw in so that it holds it and locks it into position, because for whatever reason this keeps coming undone and I don't know why. So I want to give this a real nice clean up and then we'll have a little look and see what we can do as far as a little bit of a modification to get this to stop doing this again, because it's given me the ump now. I've done it twice and I don't want to be doing it again. Right, I'm going to clean this up. I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, I've got all this area cleaned up, as you can see, as best I possibly can at the moment. I have actually found my brake cleaner, so I'm going to go over this whole tank after and clean all the diesel off it with some brake cleaner. The seal I've put back inside there, and you can see obviously the sender sits inside that and pushes down. And there's 2 lines on the tank back here, which I'll show you. See, there's 2 little lines, one there and one there. That is what those pipes line up with. So you've got to make sure they're lined up, obviously, to be in the right orientation for the pipes to clip on. This is spring loaded, it pushes up and down, so it should, in theory, keep pressure on this collar, but for whatever reason it keeps coming undone. So I'm going to go in the garage, this is going to be famous last words, I'm going to go in the garage and try and find a pointed, like self-tapping type screw that will go through this into that thread on there, but no further. So I don't want it to go all the way through, I just want it to bite into the plastic a little bit to stop it undoing. That is what I'm thinking. That's the only other thing I can think of doing. Maybe I could put a little bit of super glue on the thread, just so it's got a bit of extra glue in there, which obviously will be able to be broken loose fairly easily if you needed to, because obviously super glue is fairly brittle. So if you give it a sharp blow with a hammer to get this collar back undone again, if you ever needed to, then obviously it would come undone. So I'm thinking maybe putting a little bit of that on it as well, just to be on the double safe side, because as I say, I don't want to be doing this again. I've had this tank out, this is the 2nd time now, and it's a pain in the bum. So yeah, I'm going to go and have a little hunt for a screw that might work with this, and then I'll come back to you and we'll see if we can do a little modification to it. Right, after a little bit looking round, I've actually found the rummage box. How about that? So wonders will never cease. And I've got a couple of little self-tappers, sort of little grub screw type things there that just go through the collar and hopefully won't go too far into the other thread. So what I'm going to do, I've had this on and off, and you can see where the letters are on that bit there, the writing. I need to put a hole in this section here to be able to put a screw through. That is the orientation I need it in, and I might try and get one in the opposite side as well if I can, just so I've got double sort of strength as such. Now I did find with this that when I fitted it on the tank, if I tightened it up too much, it actually expanded and popped off. So I'm wondering whether that's what's happened from when I did it last time. Maybe I'd done it up too tight and it obviously expanded this plastic ring, and it didn't like it very much and popped off the threads, and obviously that's then allowed it to gradually undo again with vibration of the cab and everything else. So I've got my drill here and I've got some little drill bits. Don't want to obviously go too big because I want this to bite into it, but also I don't want to split the plastic, so I'm just going to sort of eyeball it. That one should be okay, I reckon. I'm going to put a hole in the side of this one, somewhere in the middle, like that. Hopefully that won't affect the strength of it at all, because it's only small. You can see the white through there. I'm going to do exactly the same on the opposite one. Hopefully we'll be able to get a screw in both sides. That is the plan. So now that they're obviously drilled, I'll move you back. Get this. Obviously, you have to put a little bit of pressure on this to push the springs down in the sender to be able to do this up. Oh, someone was having a disco going past then. I don't know if you heard that or not. Sounds like me about 15 years ago. I must be getting old. And you saw that then? It popped off. So there is actually, I think, something possibly wrong with this. Where, see what I mean? It's not holding. It's not holding. I'm not doing it up very tight either. That's just sort of by hand, obviously, you know. See, it slips back off and then it pops up, and that's what's obviously letting the fuel out. I'm wondering whether I need a new collar, which is a pain, but at the same time, I may have found inadvertently when I was underneath the cab, there is actually a plate in the boot you can take off to get to this. So I wonder whether I can actually change this if I put it all back without having to take all this back out again. Right, I'm going to ponder this for a minute, because obviously if I put the screws in, if I get it to a point where it's tight and I put the screws in theory it can't pop back up, because obviously the screws will be biting into this bit of the thread. So maybe I'll try that. It's not ideal, but obviously I don't want to be putting this back and I don't want it to carry on leaking, you know, at least for the time being. And the other thing is, did I get that orientated right? Was that doing it? Was that causing it to pop back off? See, it's not popping off now. Most it is. This is absolutely rubbish, this design. Plastic collar on a plastic tank. Who thought that was a good idea? Now, because I'm not being able to do this up quite so tight, it means my holes are in a different place, which is not ideal, because I wanted it to be in line with that. Like that. Is it because, I wonder if it's because I'm not getting it pushed down enough when I'm winding the collar on, it's going on wonky. Because I did have that was tight then, and it stayed tight, it didn't pop off. Let's just make sure. I'm going to push this down in the middle so there's no pressure on the collar. Make sure those pipes are in line. Make sure that this is just going on without any issues as such. Right, now that's it. It still pops off. Absolute junk. Sorry, rock the tank with you on it. Why is that doing that? I don't understand. So you can quite easily get your fingers under that and pull that up. I suppose the only thing I can do is do it up and just try the screw and see whether it actually holds it down or not, and it stops me from being able to pull it up. That's down at the moment. I'm not going to pull it up And to grab a screwdriver, wind this in and see what it does. Let me go and grab a screwdriver, hang on. As usual, I'm completely unprepared. Right, let's see if this works. Because I can't see how buying a new collar, or a new tank for that matter, is going to fix that problem, because there's still going to be a plastic tank and a plastic collar. Right, if I lift on that now, it can't go anywhere. Yes, lovely. That seems to have worked. Rather better than I thought it would actually. Let me just, yeah, I can't lift that up now. So I think that's going to work. I'm going to go with this for now without any glue, because I don't really want to put glue in it unless I absolutely have to. And I can get a screw in this side too. Should just be biting into the thread on the inside, you see, and because it's locked into the thread it can't lift up. Right, that is solid now. That is really, really solid. Just putting those little 2 screws in, that's crazy how much better that is. I'm pleased, really pleased with that. Right, well, all that's left for me to do then is put it all back in. Well, I've got to give it a clean up first, and then we can put it all back in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that will have cured the problem. I'm really hopeful it has, because it did get very embarrassing at a fuel garage filling up, and people were saying, you know, your cab's leaking. I said, yeah, I know. I said, it's because I filled it up too much. But that now is not coming off of there, and it's got pressure all around the inside of here. There's no gap, which means it's putting the correct amount of pressure on it all round. It's not wonky. That is got a, and it definitely can't turn. I think that's done it. Right, I'm going to have a big clean up and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, the tank is now back under the cab, as you can see. I just thought I'd show you quickly. You've got one plug here, which is your electrical connector for the pump stroke sender. You've got your return line up the back there, which is obviously going into that port there. You've got your 2 fuel lines, which are click-on connectors on the top of the pump itself, in and out, I'm guessing. And this filler neck, I would highly recommend that you undo from the inside of the boot. It goes through a rubber bung up there, just about to see that there, and it is a lot easier. You can undo it from underneath, because I did undo it from under here to start to get the tank out, but to get it back in again, it's a lot easier to do this back up under here. And there's another, obviously, Jubilee clip inside the boot, which is a lot easier to get to once you've raised the tank back up. So I would very much recommend you do that if you're going to take a tank out. You can take it out but this way, but putting it back, it's a lot easier to put this back on first. So those are those 5, is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 connections back on there. All the top of the tank is all cleaned up. The collar is still absolutely solid. There's no movement in that at all. So I'm really hoping that has cured the problem and it hasn't gone too far in and done me sealing or anything like that. I don't think it would have done, because I was only just sticking through the other side of those collars. So yeah, there we go. So I'm going to get this bolted back up, 4 bolts. And I'll just show when I get to that stage of bolted it back up. I'll show you inside the boot, just to show you where the connection is for the pipe on the inside. But it's pretty self-explanatory. But I'll show you anyway, just so you know. Right, there we go. There is the tank all bolted back in, all 4 bolts done up, and that is all nice and clean as well. Cleaned it all the way under. I'll just show you inside the boot. You can see inside there, that is where your filler neck comes through, or pipe comes through. You can see I need to join that back on, so all I've got to do is slip that rubber pipe back over the filler, and then do that Jubilee clip up, and then we are absolutely job done, lovely jubbly. So that is going to be the end of that job, and hopefully the end of the leaks with any luck. Top banana. There we go, that is all done up nice and tight. If you'll focus, there we go, job done, lovely jubbly. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. Another couple of jobs ticked off the list on the old cab. Now I do need to clarify, I kind of didn't explain what had happened with the heater valve in that video, and that is that the ends of the heater valve either side, for whatever reason, when the cab was made, they'd tightened the clamps up, or if someone's changed it since, has tightened the clamps up too much and it actually cracked and split off both ends of that heater valve, so they were still inside the pipe, which is why when in the video earlier I said about it looks like it's a different size inside that rubber pipe. That was the piece of plastic that should have been attached to the heater valve that obviously had snapped off, and it was in the pipe, which is why it started leaking, because obviously that had become completely detached and wasn't sealing anymore. There wasn't enough left on the valve to obviously seal the pipe on. Where the clamp was, it was only clamping on the bit that had broken off. So that is hopefully explains why I had to change the heater valve. I didn't really explain that very well in the video, so apologies for that. Obviously looking back at it, I've just had a look at the footage and then been editing it, and I thought to myself, I haven't really explained why I changed the heater valve. So that is the reason why. I didn't change the pipes in the end because they are no longer available unless you buy a complete heater box. So I thought, well, I'm not doing that, so that's why I used the boiling water trick to obviously make those a lot more flexible and pliable to go back on to the new valve. Now, since recording all this video, I've done another 1,000 miles in the cab. It is now 176,000 miles. Been proper racking up the old miles, and as you can probably see, it is looking a bit of a state, needs another wash again, but it has cured the problem. I haven't lost any more coolant since I changed that heater valve, so that is really, really good. I don't seem to be leaking diesel anymore at the moment, so that is obviously superb as well. Obviously the camera is all wired in to the fuse box. It does still have a momentary glitch where it resets itself every now and then. I have no idea why, whether it's getting a minuscule loss of power at some point in time from the cab itself, and it's obviously causing it to reset. I don't know why, but it's not doing it as much, so at least that's one good thing. So there we go. So 3 more jobs on the cab to keep it going and on the road. So that is going to be the end of look, I can't talk. Try again. That is going to be the end of today's video. If you can do 4 things for me: like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. It's all free. It costs you absolutely nothing, and I really, really do appreciate it. It helps me out massively on the channel. I'm doing my absolute very best to keep videos coming for you. As I say, the house is still ongoing. I've currently still got the stairs all in bits, and I'm trying to sort those out at the moment, so bear with me. I'm trying my best. So yeah, that is all that is left to say. Thank you very much for watching, and that is a really nice Mini just drove past there. If you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I will see you again next time. Cheers, guys.